You're listening to TCR Radio.
Today in the studio we have ex-Watford, Liverpool and England player John Barnes, MBE. John was a fast, skillful left winger and forward, scoring probably one of the best England goals ever during a match in Rio against Brazil in June 1984, with England winning 2-0. Hello John, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. We're in the deepest mid-Devon on TCR Radio.
Well, it's a beautiful part of the world at this time of the year.
Yeah, it's great. We love it down here. So before we get on to football, Just Eat, there was an ad recently with your face on a plate, head licking, strange advert. What's going on there, John?
Exactly. What is going on? Just Eat are running a campaign for the summer's football festivities, whereby if you order a takeaway off the Just Eat app, you can win a plate. Well, it's not a competition because there will be hundreds of plates randomly given away to people who order. All you have to do is order. You don't have to enter. It's not a competition. But if you order off the Just Eat app, you can get hundreds of plates. And there are 4 different ones. There's obviously my face. There's one with Diego Maradona's hand of God goal. There's one with Putin riding a bear. And there's one that Zola designed of just a pizza because Italy aren't there. So it's just a fun way of the fans engaging in the football festivities.
Shame Italy aren't with us in the World Cup, isn't it? Okay. And I'm just wondering, when you were playing for England, I mean, how did you find it? I mean, do you think there's more pressures today now or more pressures when you were in the team?
Well, we were fortunate that we had a lot of experienced players in the team who could handle that pressure. There's always pressure when you play for England and you go to a World Cup because of the expectations. But now with this young, inexperienced team, I think the pressure is slightly off, or it should be off, with our expectations of them to necessarily go on to win it. Yes, in the group, we should get through in the group. We should get to the quarterfinals because we know who we're going to play if we finish first or second. But once we get to the quarterfinals, we could come up against Brazil or Spain. And while Spain have had their problems with the manager, they still are a very experienced team with lots of World Cup winners in the side. And with our young, inexperienced team, with youth and inexperience comes inconsistency. And we've seen it where sometimes we're brilliant, sometimes we're not. So we can get to the quarterfinals. And yes, we can beat Brazil or Spain in the quarterfinals on a one-off. But can we go and win it? Yes, we can, but for me to expect to win it, no. And I'd urge the nation not to put too much pressure on these young players because these young players are the future, all of them. We haven't got a choice but to stick with them, even if they don't do well. So if you don't put too much pressure on them, I would look for the next World Cup in 4 years to then be more demanding in my expectations. But for this World Cup, I would just urge the nation to get behind them, support them, and if they get knocked out in the quarterfinals, still say well done.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, they are a young squad, aren't they, really, essentially? I know you were sort of early 20s, weren't you, when you were in England? But
yeah, but I played for England at 19, but you had players who were in their late 20s and 30s who were there.
Yes.
You had Brian Robson, Ray Wilkins, Glenn Hoddle, and later on, with Gary Lineker and myself became more experienced. Whereas now we haven't got that, and experience counts for a lot, particularly in tournaments. So I was fortunate that I was in an experienced team, whereas, England aren't at this moment, but they can be, if we stick with them and support them, be very successful in the future. They can be successful in this World Cup as well, but we shouldn't be too demanding.
No, and it's interesting, like you say, the Euro 96 squad with England, there was a lot of role models, wasn't there? Like, a lot of kind of characters.
Well, not only that, they had experience. You had Teddy Sheringham, Alan Shearer, they're in their late 20s, mid-20s. So, experience counts for a lot.
It's interesting how now they've not sort of got on these Beckhams or characters or Rooney's. It's kind of a...
Those days have gone. Because, of course, you have characters like Gaza. Of course, Gaza can survive in today's playing. Where he's a fantastic character and a great player. But modern football has changed. So you're not going to have those characters. You don't necessarily need them. If you look at the Germany team that won the World Cup, you wouldn't say they had any characters in that team. It's more now about the professionalism, the determination, the belief, the support, and being experienced as well. So, saying we haven't got characters anymore, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing which can stop us doing well.
No, I totally agree. And I think they've got a good chance for that reason, because it's a balance, isn't it? And they're all kind of on that level, all coming along together.
Yes, they are. But what works against them is their lack of experience.
Of course.
And a lack of experience and having so many young players, you will be inconsistent. So on our day, we can beat Brazil. On our day, we could beat any one team.
Yeah.
But to win the World Cup, you have to put together a 3-game consistent performance in the quarterfinals, semifinals, final against a top team. And on a one-off, we can beat any one of those, maybe even in 2. But in 3, can we say if we play Brazil in the semifinal, we'll beat them. Spain in the semifinal, quarterfinals, we'll beat them. France in the final, we'll win all 3. Playing any one of them on a one-off, yes, we can. Of course, as I said, in 4 years' time with more experience, we can be more demanding. But now, let's just, support them.
exactly. And what team do you think have got the maturity? What country at the moment?
Well, not just the maturity. You have to look at the balance of maturity, talent, strength in depth, and Brazil. I mean, player for player, I think that Belgium. No. Player for player, I think Belgium are the best team. If you look at the players they have individually, but I don't think they gel as a team. France will be strong. Spain, of course, they've lost their manager, but they'll be strong. But for me, I'll make Brazil slight favourites, probably over France.
And England, where do you see us? If you had
quarterfinals. Quarterfinals, and after the quarterfinals, we can play Brazil and Spain and beat them, so we can get to the semi-final. But as I said, I'd expect us to get to the quarterfinals, and then anything after that is a bonus.
Okay, yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I mean, you've got kids, haven't you? My boys in the Tiverton Town Football Club. It's all youth, and there's Elmore Football Club. How would you encourage them these days? I mean, you do as a dad.
You'd encourage them to enjoy football. That's what you encourage them to do.
Yeah.
As a consequence of enjoying football and being disciplined and working hard, you may become a professional footballer. The problem we have is that we're trying to tell these 6- and 7-year-old kids you're going to be a professional footballer. And then they think about that rather than thinking about just enjoying the game and growing up as a young adult. Because, of course, between the ages of 12 and 15, when you're going through puberty, you may lose interest. You just have to enjoy doing what you do. So, unfortunately, in this day and age, we're putting pressure on these young kids to be professional footballers at 8 and 9. And I say to them, just enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree, because they see all this on the TV, don't they? And it's what they think.
We're creating a celebrity situation whereby everybody wants to be a celebrity. This is the age we live in. From actors to singers, everyone wants to be a celebrity.
Yeah.
Just enjoy football, enjoy singing, enjoy what you do, and then when you get to your teens, your mid-teens, think about what you really want to do from a professional perspective. But when you're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, just enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. And as we say, like, there used to be these role models and characters in the England team. There isn't now. So they don't have that, the kids coming up, for next year or stuff,
But regardless of whether you have role models or not, you enjoy it. I never had a role model growing up, but I love football. Yeah. Football was my role model if I want to be a footballer. Yeah. So, just enjoy your childhood. And in your childhood, you have to have a well-rounded childhood by doing lots of different things without putting yourself under pressure to be a professional footballer, professional singer, professional actor when you're 6, 7, 8 years old.
Exactly. No,
you're a professional child.
Yeah. Well, myself, I write music, and the rap you did with New Order for the World Cup. 1990. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And how did that come about?
It came about because there wasn't supposed to be a rap. New Order did the song, and at the end, Keith Allen was there, and of course, back then, in the studio with players and musicians, we had a little drink and a bit of a drunken stupid. They said, let's write a rap. So we wrote a rap, and the rest is history. So the rap wasn't even supposed to be part of the song. It was written probably 10 minutes. In fact, the song was finished. We're about to leave, and someone said, let's write a rap. So it was written, and the rest is history.
So really, literally, you just did it off the cuff, like 1 or 2 takes?
Well, it was written off the cuff, but then we had to have a rap-off between some of the players, and it's between myself and Gaz and Peter Beardsley. So I didn't have much competition, so I was fortunate enough to do the rap, yeah.
Can you remember a line in it now? Or?
I can remember all the lines in it. If you'd like me to do it, all you got to do is ask.
Well, I'd love you to do a couple of lines. That would be brilliant.
Okay. You got to hold and give, but do it at the right time. You can be slow or fast, but you must get to the line. They'll always hit you and hurt you. Defend and attack. There's only one way to beat them. Get round the back. There you go. How's that?
John Barnes, thank you very much, and enjoy the World Cup coming up, as we all will.
Okay, pleasure. All right, then, mate.
Thanks, John, and thanks to Just Eat.
You're listening to TCR Radio.